The airport lights blurred behind me as I stepped into the cool evening air with a smile I had carried for nearly a year. My suitcase felt lighter than my heart, filled with souvenirs, handwritten postcards I never mailed because I wanted to hand them over in person, and 1,000 stories waiting for my best friend. I had flown home 2 weeks early without telling anyone because I dreamed of seeing her face light up with surprise. I imagined laughter, tears, and the kind of hug that erases months of distance in a single heartbeat. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened when she opened that front door. The woman who had always run toward me stood frozen instead, her eyes filled with fear instead of joy, and before I could even say her name, she quietly whispered something that shattered every expectation I had carried across the ocean. Before we continue this emotional journey, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness so you never miss another heart-touching story that reminds us how powerful love, friendship, and compassion can truly be. For almost 12 months, life abroad had been exciting but lonely. Every beautiful city I visited felt incomplete because I constantly wished my best friend, Emily, could see it with me. We had grown up together, survived awkward teenage years together, celebrated graduations together, and promised that no matter where life took us, we would never let distance change our friendship. We spoke often during the first few months, but then work became overwhelming for both of us. Calls became shorter, messages became less frequent, and eventually we settled into the comforting belief that true friendship never needs constant reassurance. I believed that with all my heart as my taxi rolled through the familiar streets of my hometown. Everything looked almost exactly the same. The old bakery still filled the neighborhood with the smell of fresh bread. The park where we spent countless evenings laughing under fading sunsets remained untouched. Even the weather seemed determined to welcome me home with the gentle breeze I remembered from childhood. Every familiar sight strengthened my excitement. I imagined Emily opening the door, laughing in disbelief before pulling me into the longest hug of our lives. Instead, the moment arrived wrapped in silence. She opened the door slowly, staring at me as though she had seen a ghost. Her face looked thinner than I remembered. Dark circles surrounded tired eyes that had once sparkled with endless optimism. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She simply looked frightened. For a few painful seconds, neither of us moved. Then I noticed something even stranger. The warm little house that had always been filled with music, books, and colorful decorations now felt empty. Curtains stayed closed despite the afternoon sunlight outside. Half the furniture was gone. Family photographs had disappeared from the walls, leaving pale outlines where memories once hung proudly. A cold feeling settled deep inside me. As I stepped inside, I realized that the surprise I had carefully planned had become my own. The following hours revealed pieces of a story I could never have imagined. During the months I had been overseas, Emily's father had passed away unexpectedly. Medical bills had consumed nearly every dollar the family had saved. Soon afterward, her company downsized, leaving her unemployed. The landlord increased the rent beyond what she could afford, forcing her to sell many of her belongings just to stay in the home a little longer. Worst of all, while she struggled through every heartbreak, she had convinced herself not to tell me because she believed I deserved to enjoy the opportunity one had worked so hard to earn abroad. The guilt hit me harder than anything else. While I had been sending photographs of mountain views and beautiful cafes, she had been sitting alone in hospital waiting rooms, attending funeral services, searching endlessly for work, and pretending everything was fine each time we exchanged brief messages. I realized then how carefully people hide their pain behind simple words like, "I'm okay." That evening we sat together in the quiet living room as sunlight slowly disappeared outside. There were long moments when neither of us spoke. Words seemed too small for everything that had happened. Sometimes true friendship isn't measured by perfect conversations but by the willingness to remain beside someone when silence says everything. Over the next several days, I quietly postponed every personal plan I had made after returning home. Instead of unpacking souvenirs, I helped Emily organize paperwork, clean the neglected house, and update her resume. We visited job fairs together, prepared applications late into the night, and searched for opportunities that offered hope instead of disappointment. Progress came slowly. There were days filled with rejection emails and unanswered phone calls. There were evenings when exhaustion nearly convinced us to give up. Yet every small victory became worth celebrating. One interview invitation felt like winning a championship. One encouraging conversation restored confidence that had nearly disappeared. As I spent more time with Emily, I also discovered something beautiful hidden beneath her suffering. Despite losing so much herself, she had quietly volunteered at a neighborhood food pantry every Saturday morning. She believed that helping people who had even less than she did reminded her that kindness could survive even the darkest seasons. Watching her serve strangers while carrying her own invisible burdens changed something inside me. I had traveled across countries searching for unforgettable experiences, but the greatest lesson waited quietly in my hometown. Strength wasn't found in impressive achievements or expensive adventures. Real strength appeared in ordinary people choosing compassion when life gave them every reason to become bitter. Inspired by Emily's quiet courage, I began volunteering beside her. Together we packed grocery boxes, delivered meals to elderly neighbors, and listened to stories from families facing impossible circumstances. Every act of kindness reminded us that healing rarely arrives all at once. Instead, it comes through countless small moments when people refuse to let one another face hardship alone. Several weeks later, Emily finally received an offer for a full-time position at a local nonprofit organization. The salary wasn't extraordinary, but the work matched her compassionate heart perfectly. When she accepted the position, I saw the first genuine smile return to her face since I'd come home. It wasn't only employment she had regained. She had recovered hope. The house slowly transformed as well. New curtains allowed sunlight to pour through the windows again. Fresh flowers appeared on the kitchen table. Family photographs returned to the walls. Laughter gradually replaced silence. One afternoon we visited the park where our friendship had begun years earlier. Children chased one another across the grass while parents watched from nearby benches. Life moved forward exactly as it always had, reminding us that pain never stops the world from turning, but love gives us the strength to keep walking with it. Standing beneath the same old tree where we once made childish promises about always staying friends, I understood something I had never appreciated before. Time and distance don't destroy real friendship. Secrets do. Pride does. The fear of becoming someone else's burden does. If I had learned anything from the past year, it was that the people who truly love us don't need perfection from us. They simply want the chance to stand beside us when life becomes unbearable. If this story has touched your heart so far, please pause for a moment and write in the comments, "True friendship never leaves." Your words may encourage someone who desperately needs hope today. Months later, as life finally settled into a peaceful rhythm, Emily admitted that when she first opened the door and saw me standing there unexpectedly, she wasn't afraid because I had returned. She was afraid that I would see how broken her life had become. What she didn't realize was that friendship has never been about celebrating only the beautiful chapters. Its greatest purpose is helping one another survive the difficult ones. As we watched another sunset together, I realized that surprising my best friend had never truly been the gift. The real gift was discovering that even after unimaginable loss, hearts can heal when kindness refuses to give up. Sometimes the greatest homecoming isn't arriving in a familiar place. It's finding the people who remind you that no matter how far you've traveled or how much life has changed, love still knows exactly where to find you. If this story moved your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who values true friendship, leave a heartfelt comment below, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support allows more inspiring stories of hope, forgiveness, and second chances to reach people who may need them the most. Remember, one simple act of kindness can become the beginning of someone else's miracle.